If I were to pick one thing to improve the responses I got from AI, this is the first place I would start. Without this, AI keeps giving you generic answers, so I want to save you some time. It's not the model, and it's not because you're missing some plugin, a skill, or even a new custom GPT. It's that you never gave it a foundation. This is something you fix once, and every conversation after that gets better. Let me show you. So here's an email I asked AI to write with no instructions, no context, and it just looks completely generic, right? This is not my voice. It doesn't sound like me. It's not something that I would send. And a lot of people start here and they start iterating and editing, and they have a chat window that's like 10,000 lines long. Now, here's the same exact ask, same exact prompt, but this time AI has context about me. It has custom instructions. It has the instructions that I took time to build in to shape what the response looks like. And you can already tell this looks much better, right? It's the same tool, the same prompt, just a different foundational layer that it's building on top of. It's not only going to save you in tokens, but also time and output. And this is how you get things really efficient. You want to take time with the planning and let it really get to know you so that it can execute on your behalf. So before we get started, real quick, my name's Chris. I help non-technical people and businesses break down the highest leverage things they can do with AI without getting lost in all the noise. And I don't just teach theory. I've been in operations for over 10 years, so I've actually seen what moves the needle. So here's the plan. I'm going to show you where this foundation lives. We'll be using Claude as an example. You can also do this in ChatGPT under custom instructions. I'm also going to hand you a prompt that you can find in the description below. So copy that and have it ready if you're following along. And what they'll do is give you an exact structure of how this should be organized to actually make it work. So let's get into it. Okay, so here's what I see all the time. Someone gets into AI, they're diving into all these crazy tools, plugin skills, downloading all these repos. You don't even know what you're doing. And then you're building on top of nothing, right? You have no context, no informational layer that it has to work on top of. The instructions for Claude, the system instructions for GPT, this is the same thing as a Claude MD file that feeds into your code and cowork projects. So although those are a lot more dynamic and the use cases are a lot broader, this is essentially the same thing in the context of chat. All right, so to continue, what's the foundation? It's the instructions that you give the tool about you once that it carries into every single chat. You tell it who you are, how you want it to respond, and it remembers that forever in every conversation. Now, here's the part that a lot of people get backwards. Both tools also have memory that fills in over time, which is why people assume that it has all this context about you. And while that is real and that's useful, memory is the stuff that accumulates, and the more of that builds on top of each other, the more crowded and cloudy the judgment gets. These instructions are the foundations you set on purpose. And once the foundation's set, everything else, the projects, the plugins, the skills, all of that works so much better because it's building on top of something instead of nothing. Okay, so in ChatGPT, you're going to click your name, go to settings, and custom instructions are right under this personalization section. And you can enter them right here. Now for Claude, you're going to click on your name, go to settings, and under this general section, you'll see instructions for Claude laid out here. So this is where we'll be pasting in the instructions that we're going to get. All right, so you might be thinking, what the hell do I even write in here, right? And this is where most people just stall out and quit. They either just write whatever they think would be helpful or spend an immense amount of time trying to organize things without any type of framework. So I'm here to give you that framework and help you speed this up. Do not write this yourself. Have AI write it for you. And we're going to do this with something called meta prompting. Basically, you paste in one prompt, and instead of you trying to describe your whole business from a blank page, it asks you questions one at a time, just like it's interviewing you, and writes the instructions for you. How awesome is that? So I'm going to paste this prompt in right now. It's also in the descriptions if you want to copy it. So first question is, who are you and what is your role? Give me your name, your title, and the 1 or 2 sentence version of what you do and what you'd want me to lead within every conversation. I like holding this down and recording it with my voice. A lot of people use a tool called Whisperflow, but when you're beginning, you just need to hold this down and talk. That's the muscle you want to build before you start paying for all these tools. Apple even has a dictation feature built into the computer, so definitely worth trying before you start investing into all these other tools. So I'm going to go through this whole thing with Claude, but you can do the same thing with GPT. But if you're a ChatGPT person and you're and you're comfortable with that platform, please go ahead and do the same thing. The questions and the whole format should be very similar. So I'm just going to say something here real quick. My name's Chris. I help non-technical people and businesses navigate their way around AI and find the highest leverage points. I also make educational content and videos, and am an AI coach as well. Make sure to keep that in mind with some of the responses that you're writing. I'm just going through this in a very surface level way, but you're going to want to take time doing this, right? Be detailed about what you want. Okay, next question. Who are your customers? Be specific. What kind of person or business comes to you? I mainly deal with non-technical people and businesses that want to get into AI or that have a big interest in AI implementation and learning. They either want to solve a specific problem or want to implement AI into a business and has no idea where to start. So I help them clear all that up, find the best way to start and the right way to do it. Now, I'll just go through one more of these and then we'll circle back up once we get through the whole interview. So my business is called Compound Systems. We offer everything from AI automation, consulting. This is a really good thing to say if you're not technical, but want to be learning at the same time. So keep things casual, don't fill it with technical jargon. And I want it to be conversational and easy to understand. But like if there's a concept that I need to understand, I want you to explain that to me so I can learn. One thing that I noticed is it never asked me for a sample of my voice style, right? A sample of my writing or even a transcript of how I talk. So I'm going to provide that and have it incorporated into the instructions. Great. So it's pulling these types of patterns and styles from my writing. I wanted to implement this into my custom instructions. Great. So I'm going to copy this, and it even tells you settings, profile. So I'll go to settings, under profile. Now, if you do have a custom instruction, this is how most people's custom instructions look like whenever I check them, right? It's just simple descriptions. This works great at the beginning, but you're going to want to build on this and continue iterating from it. So I'm going to replace this. And now let's see how the email writes. So one rule of thumb, I generally don't like to mix several topics into one chat, especially on chat mode. So we're going to start a new one. Write a follow-up email to a lead who went quiet. Great. So this is already looking at the custom instructions. It knows that I want it to sound like me, and it's giving me some options here instead of just taking a pass at it and then going back and forth, eating up my context. Yeah, this is really close to how I would actually write. So let's go with the gentle nudge here. So far, it's really close. And you can even send this via Gmail as long as you have one of the connectors plugged in here. So yeah, it knows my tone. It understands the style of writing that I like. And it writes an email very close to how I'd actually write it. This is the boring part that nobody talks about. That's essential for you to get good outputs. If you didn't have this set up yet, you should definitely see a difference in terms of how chat is interacting with you. And you can always build on top of this. And if you're just getting started, you're doing it the right way. These instructions also translate into something called the Claude.md file, which is used across Cowork and Claude Code to give it even more context. So you can think of that Claude.md file as the same thing as your custom instructions in chat, just used in a much more dynamic way that you'll eventually end up getting into. But this is a really good foundation and a really good example of how that works. So before you go chase another AI tool, go ahead and set this up first. It takes 10 minutes. It's one of the highest leverage things you can do with AI, and everything you add later will just build on top of it. And if you actually want to use AI in your business, instead of just hearing about it, follow me and subscribe. That's what I'm focused on making here to help you. And if you want help building the full version of this for your business, which is a lot more complex, this is the context layer that runs your entire backend, not just another chat box. A link to my free consultation is below in the description. That's exactly what I do. So thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one.